Okay, dokie. I'm going to get a paintbrush. A couple paintbrushes actually here. I'm about to finish these tanks off, this other batch of tanks that I have. Let me turn down my phone. Hopefully it's not too loud. I've got a 3D printer going in the back. I hope it's not too loud. I'm printing some 55-gallon drums on the filament printer, using a PLA to print those. But what I'm doing tonight is I'm just finishing up the last of these propane tanks. Let me kind of catch you up and show you where I'm at. And kind of excited about this. So I was having a bit of a cuckoo time with these water slide labels. And I created a batch of tanks here. Let me get a couple out and share with you. I have two styles of tanks. So one of the styles is this one here, a bit of a chunkier, more of a flat top. I looked on the internet and there's quite a few different shapes of these propane tanks, and so I kind of went with a couple different tanks appearances. But you know, I aged and distressed these and put some labeling on them, and this is a bit different style than the one I'm going to be painting tonight. You notice there's no weld line on this one. It's a little bit of a flatter top. It's just a little bit chunkier of a tank. It's the same size, the same diameter and same height as this other tanks, but these tanks here are a little bit more modern, a little rounded on the top. It's called a fillet on the top. And I've got a weld line in here that I added as I resin printed these. So these are a little bit different style tank than the other ones. And I'm just going to be finishing up tonight. Now that I've got the water slide decals on there, I'm going to be just adding rust and then sealing these off with a gloss finish, and then painting the cut-off valves on top and stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at. I just wanted to get online and do this and say hello and see what everybody was doing. Let me rotate my phone over here and make sure I can see comments and things like that as people chime in. Let's see. Alright, so let me grab and I'm going to be using the Vallejo Pigments. I love these things, man. These are great. These pigments are really a great way to rust out some tanks. And what I'm going to do, I'm probably just going to start initially with a little bit of a black. And like I said, hopefully that's not too loud in the back. I got a printer going. So we'll move all these tanks up here, and I just go through the colors and do each one. So let's get I have this really stiff brush I want to try too. It's a bit of a chunkier brush. I might not work on these because it's kind of wide. But anyway, let me dab a little bit of pigment powder in here. There we go. And then move it out of the way because I will knock it over if I don't move it. I know how I operate. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through and dab this on in areas that I think I want a little bit of dark pigment. These are fun to work with. I mean, they're really a neat way to get in here and age out these tanks and make them look really cool. Just saves a lot of time. And then when you add the paint thinner, the airbrush thinner, to set the pigment in, oh man, it just looks really nice. I really love the way it comes out. You can blend different colors on top of each other and create some really cool effects. We're just going to start with the blacks, and then we're going to go on down to the other colors. You're going to hear my dog outside probably. There she is, doing her job. That's my German Shepherd, Emma. She is out there saving the world from my backyard. Get some of these powders brushed in here. And I just start with each color and then I just work my way down. Let me turn down my phone a little bit more so I don't get any feedback. Oh no, there we go. Perfect. Nice. Okay. And I'll brush these off. You'll see this is a pretty fun way to do this. And I like this style of tank here, man. I like the other one too, but I like that I added the weld line on there around the diameter of the tank. That's just a really cool added little detail that really helps give a little more visual appeal to the tank, you know. I'll look over here at my comments from time to time to see who's chiming in, if anybody. Sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. And these tanks I airbrush with a base coat, actually 3 good coats of a brown base coat to, once these come out of the 3D printer, and then I clean them and wash them and cure them. Then I hit them with a nice thick coat of brown on the bottom. Then I go through and start doing my rusting, and my first coat of rusting with just paint, you know. And then I started using these water decals, and I learned that it's better if I put the water decal first and then I go ahead and do the pigments after, just because it saves me from having to touch up the pigments before I seal them with the high gloss Mod Podge spray, Mod Podge sealer. It's an aerosol sealer, and I really like it, but it saves me the step of having to touch up the pigments, because the water will cause them to turn not into a paint, but it will diminish their appearance, and you know, water mixed with pigment turns into, you know, kind of like a paint. And so oh, that's that. Okay, so it's better that I actually save the pigmenting till the end, which is what I'm doing now, because it ends up like I say, saving me a step. And I'll just brush the excess black off. That's what I'm doing here. Then I'll go through with my other colors. And how else would you want to spend a Saturday evening, man? You know, creating miniatures and getting lost in your own little world of art and dreams, and you know, I mean, it's for me, it's fun, you know. It's a great way to come out here to my garage and the cares of the world kind of just fade away as I create these little miniature things and discover new ways to create art and share art, and it's just great. I like it. And honestly, these days it's a wonderful time to be into crafting, man. There is so much. That's bad grammar. There are so many resources and tools and tricks available to help you create something awesome. That it's just a great time to be into art. And if you're into photography as well, like I am, you can photograph your art and create really cool scenes and sets. It's just really fun, you know. Okay, so we got some black on there. I'm going to go ahead and put the black back into the black container. Probably should transfer that on a paper and then put it into the container so we don't spill it everywhere. And I'm printing, like I said, I'm printing some 55-gallon drums right now on the PLA. With some PLA, I'm not going to resin print those. That'll take forever. And it's honestly probably a better task for a PLA printer. It's a little bit faster time, and it just doesn't have as much detail as I need for you know, the resin printer. So let's see, kind of odd I'm not getting any comments on here. I wonder, let me go over here to my channel real quick and see. Sometimes I hit the wrong settings, and I need for let's see here, you know, the resin printer. Okay. Doesn't seem like I have comments turned on for some reason. Well, that is a bummer. I thought I did. It's what it is. So hopefully if you folks are there and you can comment, please do. That's weird. I wonder why I can't. I should have, it should be allowing comments. I guess not. Oh, there's comments. Okay, cool. They're turned on. All right, back to painting. Sometimes, you know, I'm good with this stuff, but I'm not as good with the tech at times. So we've got black in there. Then I'm going to go to my next darkest color, which is this brown iron oxide. And I'll just get a little bit of this into the cap also. And move that because, as I say, I will knock the whole bottle over. And these aren't, you know, as expensive as some things, but they're not cheap. So I don't want to spill them. You know, I don't want to spill them. So we'll go in here and we'll hit the wherever you think this stuff needs to go, man. You just add it on there, and that's the great thing about this. There's no right or wrong way. It's whatever you like. You know, and I like these little powders, man. They're great. And these tanks, I do have them on my website already for those who might want to don't have the resources to design and print the tanks. You can take advantage of my efforts, and I have them for sale on my website, so that might be something you're interested in. Free shipping in the United States. Also, get it around the ring of this weld here. There we go. Save room for another color on there. We don't want to go too crazy with it. I'm just putting these on with a soft brush from Walmart. That's it. But you can see how clean these are printed. You know, it takes a lot of work to make something look like crap. That's one thing I learned about doing this rusting and distressing and aging. It takes, there's a method to making something look crappy. You know, that's for sure. But it's fun. And these little labels really make it nice too. Another layer of visual kind of, I'm not gonna lie, they're a pain in the butt to put on. Good Lord. They are an absolute beast to put on. Fortunately, they go on and look faded and worn to match the tank, but man, they are, maybe it's just my sausage fingers, but they are absolutely a challenge to put on. I mean, I got better at it today, but they really are. They definitely take a motion. There's a certain motion that you need to get down for it to happen. And I'm glad that, like I say, these are supposed to be aged distressed tanks, because that really helped with the labeling. I honestly couldn't imagine having to put this particular type of label on that I did, and with text or anything, and have it stay crisp and legible, because it's definitely a process in putting those on. I mean, it's not a hard process. It's just dunk them in some water, but to get them off and to release from the paper and to get them onto the tank without them just turning into a gummy ruined mess, with my sausage fingers anyway, just proved to be a bit of a chore. Other people might have better luck. I watched a few videos on them today, and oddly enough, some of the videos suggested Q-tips, and I thought, well, that sounds like a good idea. Bad idea. It just takes all the ink off the decal and transfers it to the Q-tip. So that was not good. Perhaps it's the type of transfer paper I bought also. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's some variables in there, but I'm happy with the way they came out, and I'm glad that, like I say, these are distressed aged tanks, because if precision labeling was what I was after, I would be sorely disappointed with the way those turned out. Put a little on here. We're going to paint the handles on top anyway, but we'll brush all this excess off here in a little bit, and I'll show you where we're at. Looks pretty cool. I love this stuff. Make sure I'm not bumping the camera here. Man, I have been printing things all day and night on both the PLA and the resin printer. Really kind of, I got a really cool figure too, man, that I need to photograph. I got a Jesse Pinkman figure from Breaking Bad in his yellow jumpsuit, man. I can't wait to. You know, he doesn't pose, but I'll figure out a way to make it happen. You know, but he looks really cool. He's got his little gas mask and his yellow hazmat suit on. Oh man, he looks really awesome. I can't wait to photograph it. And I had shied away before from some of those figures that don't pose. But honestly, you could build sets around the pose that they're already in, or you can, you know, I mean, I've gone so far as sometimes, like with the figure 9 that I have that doesn't pose, just put them in boiling really hot water, and then using some zip ties, you know, pulling arms back, or you know, bringing arms in, or just changing kind of the position of, you know, the hands or whatever, using you know, the figure gets a little pliable in really hot water, and with a zip tie or something, or, you know, and I can kind of come out with something like that too. It really helps in giving them a nice, somewhat of a nice pose, being that they're not articulated at all. There's no joints in those figures. They're just, you know. Okay. Just brushing off some of this excess here. Okay. And we'll go in with a few spots of some lighter colored rust powder, like the one that's just called Rust. It's a little bit lighter, more of a lighter orange. And then I'll paint the tops of these and seal them up with the gloss finish, and that protects the pigment, it protects the label, it protects the finish on the tank, and it just makes it have that little bit of shine, and makes it a nice durable finished, you know, product. What a mess. Looked like I ate a bag of Cheetos. Okay. Let's dump this back into the container. Don't want to waste it. Okay. There we go. I feel like I'm back in the 80s. Never mind. Okay, so now we'll just grab this really light colored one, and we'll get to working this in just a little bit, so we have some, this won't take much of this, because just going to put it in a few spots, lighten up the tank a little bit. Hey, what's up, buddy? Man, I wish you could too. Have at it. Whatever you think you can do, man, I appreciate it. And it is, you know, not that I'm so great, but I think I give a lot of information, and interact a lot and share a lot, and I see people who do far less but have far more viewers, and it's really weird. I just don't know how it works, you know. But at any rate, man, I'm doing up these tanks here. I'll show you where we're at. I don't know if you saw the ones I posted on Instagram that I have already on my website for sale, but I did a different design here where I added the weld line to the tank and made more of a modern style on this tank than I did on this tank here. This is a little bit of an older, chubbier, flatter top style. So I did a couple different styles of tank to you know, sell on there. Somebody might be more fond of one than the other, so I figured I'd give a little variety. I don't want to cover up all the white because then it just looks like a mess. So we'll just add a little bit here and there. But yeah, man, I've been printing and painting, and I need to do some photos. I don't know if you heard or not that I got that Jesse Pinkman figure, and I want to add some, I want to do some photos with the Jesse Pinkman figure that I got from the Breaking Bad show. I love that show, man. Actually, right now I'm watching the old Knight Rider series on Netflix. 1985, man. I was like probably 8, 9 years old. I didn't miss an episode of that show, man. Knight Rider. God, I loved that show. Looking back at it now, God, it's cheesy as can be, but you know, I like it. All right, let's put this back in to the jar. And hopefully it's not too loud. I'm printing something in the back on my PLA printer, so hopefully it's not too distracting. I'm going to change my gloves here, because if I don't, what happens is everything I touch becomes full of pigment, like I ate a bag of Cheetos or something. Yeah, that's a great show, man. Yeah, you know, the weld line really does. And I thought about that. Like I said, I looked at a couple different versions of tanks online, and I didn't want to do anything too nutty, you know, and I just went with, like I say, a little bit of an older style tank, and then on this newer style one, I mean, they all have the weld line on them, but on this newer style one, I put the weld line on it. And also, it's just a matter of getting into the software too and learning the different ways to, you know, come up with, I'm going to use a latex glove on this one because it's just easier. I had, I'll tell you, I had some, I don't know what they're doing to they're not latex, but they're the nitrile gloves. I don't know what they're doing to them lately, but I wore a pair and it totally made my hand break out. And I am so cautious now of wearing any glove, but I have to wear a glove because I get paint and crap all over my hands. But I'm so apprehensive now to put a glove on. And then in my regular job, I wear, you know, these nitrile gloves under my work gloves because I haul gas, and I just try to avoid getting all that stuff all over me. But lately, the gloves I've been wearing have all been like had some really bad effect on my hands. So anyway, the old Knight Rider, I still got Kit once. Yeah, you know what? I went to Universal Studios, man, and I saw Kit, man. It was great, man. Back in the day with the Bionic Man and Blue Thunder and Airwolf and all that cool stuff, man. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just move this towel out of the way, because what will happen is I'll put my arms in it or my elbows and I'll get pigment on my elbows and arms, and I look like a complete fool, and then I get it everywhere. My wife shakes her head at me, so we want to avoid that too. So anyway, we'll start off with this new piece here, and just give these a good dusting to get all the stuff off them that isn't or you know, that's not brushed in. I don't want clumps of powder remaining anywhere. But yeah, look at this, man. Let me let the camera focus on this. It's a good looking tank. Oh, and I did your address too, man, your search, and I don't know if you got my message. It really wasn't that bad for shipping, which is nice because I have scales and everything here that I ship other stuff. But so maybe it's because I get a discount on it. I don't know. But anyway, look how cool this is, man. Really nice weld marks, nice flat bottom ring. Just really cool. The inside nozzle, you can see the nozzle and the cutoff handle. You know, I mean, it's just a really cool looking tank. The holes there are nice and clean. I all the supports that I did, you know, really just ended up producing a great looking print with no sagging and no, you know, no issues. I mean, it's just a great looking print. I'm really happy with them. And so at any rate, what I want to do, I just want to brush the extra stuff off, and I'm going to go and paint the top handles. And then I'll seal this with a. I'll show you the spray that I use. Let me get the spray. I don't know if, but this is a great clear acrylic sealer gloss spray, and what that does is just really adds that little bit of reflective property on it that gives it the idea that it's kind of metallic, and it just kind of makes it look really cool. And then it protects the pigment and the paint and everything. But this is what I use there, and then it's pretty cool. I'm not sure what they have where you are. I'm sure they have something real similar. Let's see. I'll show you that figure too, man. That figure, that Jesse Pinkman figure, is really cool looking, man. Any figure that comes with a gas mask, sign me up. And he comes with a gas mask. Something about, you know, I don't know what it is. Gas masks, man. They just look really cool. So we're just brushing off the extra pigment here, that in case there's any that's settled in these crevices that I don't know about. When I go to spray it or whatever, it'll run down the so little fly. There's always a little fly somewhere. Okay, so I think we'll just get a little gray paint like I did on these, and yeah, it's I seal the pigment. There's two ways you can do it. I'll show you one of the ways. One of the ways is that I do it with that. But another way, and maybe I'll do one while you're online. Let me grab the liquid here. It's a this here, it's an airbrush thinner. Yeah, steampunk is pretty cool. I like a lot of that. You know, no doubt I like that. Matter of fact, I want to create a boiler. I've been trying to come up with an idea of how I want to create a boiler with the core of it being like a toilet paper roll tube or something like that I model around. But speaking of that, I do want to. Speaking of the steampunk thing, I do want to create a really cool boiler, an old boiler furnace or something like that. So what I'll do is I'll just pour a little bit of this fluid in here, and I can use the same brush. It's no big deal. And then just dip a little bit. You don't want too much because then it gets all. You can seal it in by going around with the paintbrush thinner or the airbrush thinner. And you can create, and it kind of blends it nicely, and it gives it a more of a like it'd been sitting out in a rain kind of. It creates a little bit of runs, a little bit of drips. If you use enough of it, it'll create some streaking, which is pretty cool. Or if you don't want that to go through with this method here, like I say, I just hit it with the aerosol sealer, and it just seals it all right up, and so it's really nice. You know, I might actually put just a little bit around the weld, because what that'll do is create a little bit of a drip. And I'll show you once that give that a minute to drip. And I'll do that on all of these around the drip, or around the weld. That'll give a cool little effect, I think, and then I'll seal it with the aerosol spray. That weld line really was a nice addition, man. You know, and I sit and think about all the different ways that I can make the things better, look better to my eye, you know, and while I drive truck at work, you know, I sit and think about all the different things that I could do when I get back home to make little props look better, or different ways to, you know, build stuff. It's kind of what my daydreams. Just put that in there and let it run down just a little bit. There we go. And I'll paint the tops of these and seal these rascals off. Okay. Let me grab the gray paint right quick. Yes, Freddy Krueger. Yeah, it does come in a spray can. I don't know if you're limited where you can get it at, but I actually think I ended up getting that one at Walmart, is where I think I got that one. May have been Walmart that I got, where I got that. Sometimes I buy stuff at so many, you know, different places, I forget, but I think I did get that at Walmart. So what I'll do is give me a little paint in the cap of this container here. There we go. Shake it into the cap. Now I don't know if that's going to be enough. Might need a little bit more. And we'll just paint these handles up real quick. And then once these dry, then I'll just go out and spray it with this. I'll give it, you know, 2 or 3 coats of that. And then that way I know it's, you know, it's good. And I'll show you that Jesse Pinkman figure, man. He looks cool. Maybe I'll do some photography with him tomorrow. I gotta make some food. It's my daughter's birthday, so I have to do some adult stuff tomorrow. I did adult stuff today, though. I replaced a few lights in my house, but you know. Okay. Just get this on here, and these, you know, this resin printing, I remember I told you a while back that it's pretty involved, and my opinion hasn't changed, but since I got a better grasp on it, on the creating and the printing, and I've had, you know, a lot more success with it and understand it a lot more, I'm happy that I'm able to do this. It's still involved. I mean, it's still a process, you know, you gotta print and clean and wash and cure, but the end result, the reward, is more consistently achieved now, and so I can appreciate, you know, the process that I have to go through to get the prints, because the success rate is far more, you know, it's far higher than in the beginning. And so I can, you know, I like it a lot more. I mean, honestly, you know, these, where else, you can't go to the store and buy these little props. And I see people sell them on Etsy and stuff like that. And I don't want to, I want to have these kind of props for my photos and stuff, but I don't want to go broke buying them from other people either, you know. But at the end of the day, when you see people and their prints and the things that they sell, and you realize, man, they're, you know, they're handmade. These people are printing these and painting these, and it's really hard to price that and price it in a way that is fair for everybody and price it, and find somebody that understands that, you know, it's like the old barbecue trailer on the corner or the McRib sandwich at McDonald's. Yeah, the barbecue McRib sandwich is only $2, but the barbecue plate from the trailer on the corner is $25. That's the reason. You know, it's crafting and things like that. It's just it's tough, because when you go to try to sell these things, you know, it's some people just don't get the amount of effort that goes into creating something like even just this little tank. These are 7 hours to print these 6 tanks. So that's crazy in and of itself, you know. 7 hours. So I click print, and then I go to bed. And I wake up and I'm like, let me go see if I have a floor full of resin because my FEP broke, or let me go see if I have some tanks. You know. There we go. Cool. The Heisenberg. You know what? I thought about the Heisenberg one. The one that he has the hat on, and I think he has a gun. I thought about that one. Yeah. He's a little pricier than the Pinkman figure. I think he was like 40-something bucks, which, for a figure that doesn't pose, I'm really trying to justify buying it, you know, because he doesn't pose. He's a good looking figure, but man, I don't know. It's, you know, that's let me go grab that figure and show you this stuff dries. Yeah, you know, it's really hard to oh, and that's the other thing I want to do. So if you look at the tops of these, I got to get my sponge out real quick. If you look at the tops of these, and it may be a small thing and nobody may ever notice, but it's white on there, and I don't really like the way that looks. People may never see it or never think nothing about it until I mention it, but what I do is I get a sponge and I'll stipple some black wash on there real quick, because I just don't like the way it looks, and it's not even an issue, but I don't I just personally would rather not see so much white on there. So I'm gonna fix that real quick, and then I'll go get the figure. Let's see here. So all I'll do is I'll just take a little black wash here, and I put it on a sponge, and what I'll do is I'll just make a couple dabs on here, and all it does is break the white up a little bit. That's all it does, and it just helps me not see so much of that white on there. And this looks strong now, but it's really watered down, so it's really gonna be faint, but just enough to break up the white in the handles. Something like that. Like that. And so I like the way that looks better. So, and that was just an extra little step, but I feel better about it. Let me, now what I'll do is I'll spray these with this varnish, but I'll do that off a live stream. Let me get that figure and I'll show you, man. He's really cool looking. Let's see here. All right. You've probably seen him already. And this is, who makes this anyway? I don't know. Let me move this, these tanks and stuff out of the way so I don't get my figure all messed up. All right. So here is, and this is made by Mezco. You know, it's weird. Mezco does some of these non-posable figures, but I would have thought it would be like a McFarlane or something, you know. I don't know why Mezco doesn't make these posable, man. That's, dang you, Mezco. Yeah, you're right, they're cheap. And so that's why I buy some of them, because they're cheap. I mean, I can't remember what I paid for this, but it was like nothing, you know. It was really inexpensive, and so I bought it. And he looks good. And you know, I'll make it happen. I'll make something work with it, you know. And that gas mask is just really cool. This pan is kind of a waste, because that's just, I'll put something on there and take that print out of there probably or something, because that just looks cheesy. But they should have just left the pan empty. I could make something to go in there. But yeah, it looks really cool. I just love the textures of the suit and the zipper and stuff like that. And the tennis shoes, I really like the way it looks. So I'll make something happen with this guy. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow that I photograph that. Like I say, I've got to go and spray these rascals and get these guys all finished off. But here we are, you know, two different style tanks that both look really cool, nice and detailed. This one will be shiny here shortly. But look, I mean, you've got the little nozzles in there and everything. I mean, they're pretty cool, man. I like these. I'm also going to print, oh man, what was it? I got, I had the idea today and I forgot what it was. Well, 55 gallon drums. I want to make a safe also, but I won't print that. I'll have to build that out of foam. But I want to do a safe. I've been in the mood to do a safe for some reason, and I think it'd be cool, and I'm gonna make a safe. Oh yeah, you thought it was McFarlane? Yeah, I would have thought that would be McFarlane, because I bought some, like a crow figure from McFarlane and stuff like that, and you know, they weren't posable, but they were inexpensive, and so sometimes if the pose isn't bad, you could do something with it, but other times you kind of really don't know if you want to buy the figure. But it's a good alternative to spending, you know, 60 bucks on a NECA, or, you know, 150 bucks on a Mezco figure. That's for sure. You don't always feel like spending that kind of money on stuff, you know. But at any rate, so all right, man. Well, I'm gonna jump off of here and go spray these rascals down and get these on my website too. And then I've got some other stuff I got to get caught up on. But man, I sure appreciate you chiming in, man. You know, and I'm gonna jump out of here and go do some. I got some stuff I got to do in the house tonight too. I've been out here, you know, all day yesterday and all day today, airbrushing and painting and printing, and it's like I don't have days off. but I dig it out here. You know, it's great to be able to. I'm fortunate to be able to spend time in my garage as a studio and photograph and build things, man. It's fun, you know. So at any rate, take care, buddy. I'm gonna